Welcome to the Rob Liefeld Show featuring Robservations. I bring over 40 years experience in the world of comic books and entertainment. Across 5 decades, I offer insights and opinions on the business and the art of comic books and pop culture. If it's happening in games, in streaming, in movies, in comic books, we are covering it and discussing it right here. Hey, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Rob Liefeld Show featuring Robservations. I am so glad that you have joined us today. Thank you for listening to us wherever you listen to this show, whether it's Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Podbean, or our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for joining us and being part of the chat, of the discussion. We here on Robservations, Rob Liefeld Show, we talk comics 24/7 all the time. The history of comics, the business of comics, the nature of comic books, the creators, the great creators who give us our comic books to begin with. I am not shy when I tell you how incredibly impressed I am with all of the comic creators that have impressed and continue to impress me. Drawing comics is its own unique art form. It's something we don't talk about enough. It's something that I don't bring up enough. It's not storyboards. It's not movies. It's not animation. It is its own unique brand of storytelling, down to the last panel on any given page before you turn the page. Page turns are part of the timing of comic books and sequences and drama, and making sure that the ads don't break up all of the energy that you've built into the pages. All of these things are part of the considerations of making comics, and there are no comic books without artwork. Artwork is the number one key component to comic books. Any argument otherwise is a foolish argument. There was someone who tried to tell me the other day that, the pictures in the comics weren't really that important. He said, literally, that's like saying that the images in a movie are the most important. And I just kind of hung there as I read this going, is this guy serious? The images in the movies aren't what make us go to the movies. It really wasn't something I wanted to engage in at that point, but I carried it with me here to the show to tell you that I think stuff like that is nuts. Today we are looking at the art of comic books. I brought some. I've talked enough about original art. It's time to show some original art. Talk about some of these classic pages and these incredible artists and some of the techniques, down to the storytelling, the inking, the special effects that you can provide in the inking stage, not only with brush and quill, but we're going to show you some other tools. Really, really time to utilize the visual component. One of the reasons, as I said, I went to the visual aspect, and we have the YouTube part of it, is because Spotify incorporated video. Many of you listen to us on Spotify. We have a great cross section of people. I get the data. I get the information of who's watching where, who's listening where. And when Spotify introduced their video component, that's when I knew I had to turn this damn camera on and actually look at you while I talked. I used to just look down all the time. I would look down and focus on a spot on the desk as I would just record the podcast and try and think through the things that I was saying as I was saying it. Maybe some of you are like, well, that's why the show's no good anymore. He used to just stare at a spot on a desk and think as he talked. Look, there's no going back. Hopefully I'm giving as good as I get here. And the content is still strong. We're going to cover all manner of topics today. We're going to make a quick work of certain topics. I've been jotting down some notes in the week that I was gone. I needed it. I needed the vacation. One of the things, it was a vacation from the show, which was a vacation of the responsibilities of the show. But this show, I just love it so much. I love connecting with you guys. I love hearing from you. I love the platform of podcasting. And before I forget, I do an episode of Let's Talk Comic Books. Let's Talk Comic Books, hosted by Jim Viscardi. I think it's going to be on right after this one, the day after we load here. We talked all about Youngblood with the upcoming Youngblood launch coming out. So I had a great talk with Jim Viscardi, got a little loopy. I think for those of you, I am the cleanest person on planet Earth, but afterwards I told him, anyone who and I've read these stories, anyone who believes that I do lines of any sorts of drugs will I think that's the best argument. My discussion with Jim Viscardi, I'm pretty amped. I had a full Fanta grape soda before I went live, and it was way too early in the morning to be doing that stuff. So those are my kind of drugs: sugar, caffeine, holy all the terrible ingredients go into soda. It just caused me to explode. So verbally explode. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. Let's Talk Comics, the official Image Comics podcast, hosted by Jim Viscardi, also in all the same places that you listen to Robservations. But while I was away from the show, I was doubling down on working and getting all of the necessary last minute provisions for Youngblood to go to press. It has to go to press very early. There are CGC signed copies that are a part of the Youngblood package that retailers are ordering. There are sketch covers. We had to get those printed in advance. I already have them. Let me see if I have them behind me. Yeah, here I can show it. This is the Youngblood comic. Inside, this is, I can show you. For those of you who already have an existing copy, let me give you a little sneak peek of something that's different. The published, the direct to consumer Youngblood comic that I've been offering since April has a decidedly different rendition of this. We added some different color and wanted for you to see all these. Also, you can see there it is. There's this is the sketch covers. I got to draw on these because these are part of the ordering process. So we had to get everything out early. Lots of covers. Really excited about Youngblood. We were able to again break and share with you guys all of the different retailers. 27 retail variants. That speaks to the support of the book. It speaks to the absolute support of the comic book. And I am so thrilled to have as a creator, now that the clock has turned and I am officially 58, I am entering my 41st year of doing this professionally since I was a teenager. And it just is such a rich surge of emotion when you get support like we've gotten from all of these different retailers. And I'm going to continue each and every episode reading the retailers that have participated. I've almost got them committed to memory, but I don't want to leave anybody out. So I'm going to wait until I can summon that list and read that list off. If I don't get to it today, as the weeks come, because we had about a month left, I will continue to support and read off the different retailers who decided to go all in and order their own, copies. The Hollywood Reporter was so interested in the fact that we were able to, for a book that hasn't been printed in 6 years in the direct market, to have 27 variants from different retailers. The variants in the direct market, and I talk about this with Jim Viscardi a little. The variants in the direct market are now the delivery system for our content. The market has spoken. They have not rejected it. In fact, they've embraced it. It is what they prefer. There is a collectible component to what we do that has never been. It's even more so now than when I saw in the 90s. In the 90s, it felt as if, and if you just went, whoa, what is he saying? I'm gonna double down on what I'm saying. We as the publishers it felt like we were force feeding you a foil thing, a bagged thing, a shiny thing, okay? A glow in the dark thing. Now the market is telling us we want more of this. The market is saying, can you do this? Can you do this? We are reacting to what the market is dictating. And the market has always been very much in step with the collectible card market, whether it's the sports or the collectible cards, the sports cards. I'm sorry, the collectible card markets encompasses sports, fantasy, sci-fi, Marvel, DC. If you've been to a Fanatics event, you know how much collectible cards are blowing up and are continuing to blow up. And it has always been, even back in the late 80s, early 90s, that is what crept into comics, because once the collectibles start rolling out, there becomes an appetite, and that appetite then looks for something more than what they're getting because they're already now predisposed to getting their cards. So what they want is something beyond the cards, and that's spilled over into comics. And then for the people who really get excited about collecting these and flipping them, because that's part of it. Part of it is, did I double down? Did I bet on the horse? Did I make, did I win at the races? Did I pick the ponies? There's absolutely that factor that comes into this. So as cards have exploded into the collectability again, and the collectability aspect of that has really leveled up, we are experiencing that in comics. So our content is delivered in blind bags, in foil covers, in glow in the dark, in comic books that come with trading cards like X Force #1, like this new Youngblood #1. I could not be more excited just to get it into your hands. But the variant covers are also a part of that, and the cool variant cover artists are a part of that. So when we are excited that in the direct market you've got Ryan Otley, Ryan Stegman, you've got Scotty Young, you've got Kyle Nagu, Eric Gist, also known as EM Gist. You guys saw me interview him here on the podcast, on the channel. It doesn't start there. Stop there. We have Mark Spears. We have my own variant covers, and I mean it's just phenomenal. Daniel Warren Johnson. I suspect that his incredible popularity will spill on over into the success of Youngblood with his cover. His cover is absolutely just a killer cover, and we're just so excited that he participated. So the best artists in the business really came forward to lend their names to this, which is exciting. But by the time you're hearing this, or within the first day, the day of this drop, you're going to hear about Youngblood covers drawn by David Finch, Ivan Rice, by Gary Frank. You're going to hear about covers drawn. Let me see who Brian Hitch. Okay, I should stop there. I just gave you like Brian Hitch. Okay, Gary Frank, David Finch, and Ivan Rice. Okay, 4 of the greatest artists of the last 20 years. You're going to see their depictions. You don't know about those. You're going to know about those. This is part of the enthusiasm that really caught me off guard. And I am absolutely going to talk about Youngblood. I've poured my entire 2025 into Youngblood. I have gone out of my way to make the most exciting comic book that, I'll be honest, issue #1 is all about introducing this new bad guy. The coming of Xerxes. And Xerxes is spoken of in the Bible. You have to understand that. Xerxes is spoken of, the Xerxes of 300, that same Xerxes is spoken of in the Bible. He is, that is where I first heard of him. So when Frank Miller did the 300 adaptation, I was like, wait, I've heard of this guy. Xerxes is an incredibly, obviously a historical character. The name of my new villain, is he the same as the historical character? That is for me to know, you to find out, but there is a big, giant story unraveling. Each issue, it's going to get bigger. And by our 6th issue coming out April of 2026, we will be turning over the numbering to issue 100. So there is a lot in store. There's a ton of excitement, and a bunch of people who came forward, like the Ivan Rices and the Gary Franks and the David Finches. They were like, Youngblood is the book that launched Image Comics. And if you didn't know that, and that's been lost to history, well, then shame on history. It's on the cover of coffee table books, the history of comics, big giant tomes that talk about the revolution of comics. Youngblood's on the cover of that, because it was in fact the comic book that launched Image Comics. And I was always bringing it back with a ton of energy, but fanfare is something you can't determine or predict. And I am proud to say that we have achieved fanfare status with all of these different incredible artists. You guys, I've got to keep my mouth shut. I'm going to give away too much, but by the end of the day on October 7th, I believe, you will be aware of all that I am speaking of. So thank you for the tremendous support, the energy that you've given Youngblood Online, and so much of my energy continues to be poured into that. I am working on the 4th issue. A website said, I can't believe he's done with issue 3. And to that I say, why is that? Did Deadpool number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 not come out on time? Did Deadpool Batter Blood 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 not come out on time? Did Deadpool, I'm sorry, did Snake Eyes? Did Major X? I've been nothing but completely reliable in the last decade with every project that we put out. And now the excitement is about Youngblood. So much so that my colorist, who I've been working with for years, Juan said to me, Rob, we've done more work at this point in 2025 than we had done in 2024. I said, I know, I am my head's on fire with how much just energy that I'm putting into these pages, and the discipline, and probably, well, I say it all the time, the desperateness, the desperate energy that I feel, because comic books is competitive, and if you're gonna take a day off, then you've lost a day to somebody else who doubled down and worked even harder. So that is where my energy has been focused on. As far as the comics market and the comic market report, not a whole lot's changed since we talked last time. I think not a whole lot is going to change heading into the fall. We've got the traditional powerhouses that are going to continue to deliver in Transformers. As Transformers turns over and the baton is handed from Daniel Warren Johnson to Robert Kirkman, who now owns the license and is now going to completely dive into doing the official Transformers book. He's been doing Void Rivals. I'm sure those books are going to hew even closer together. Dan Mora, DC Comics' superstar, their top artist, has joined Robert on this Transformers arc that comes out, I think, maybe a week from this podcast. I know it's sometime in October. Transformers 25, boom. And of course, Absolute Batman is going to continue to roll. So you got Absolute Batman and Transformers, the two most reliable franchises of the last 24 months. Transformers really represents the success of 2023, 24, and Absolute Batman is the success of 24, 25. I mean, they're both giant success stories. We've covered that everything Batman is a big deal. We've got another Deadpool Batman crossover, except this time it's called Batman Deadpool. It's DC's version, and of course, again, it's got Dan Mora. It's their number one top artist. That's who they gave this privilege to, with Grant Morrison. I am hoping for a superior product than the one that we got from Marvel and DC, which was fun. But every review and every comment that I've read, most people believe it fell short. It didn't. They didn't give it the same oomph, the same kind of special treatment that when I did that episode recently about Superman, Spider-Man, and Spider-Man, Superman, and Batman, Hulk, and X-Men Titans, it just wasn't treated with the same kind of revered status that I believe these should be treated with. The best thing in there, the most inspired work in there, was by one Mr. Adam Kubert. Everything else was just kind of, I guess, fun for fun's sake, but it just all felt a little empty at the end. The covers, I think, did more work for the book than the interiors, and certainly I can speak to, I was a retailer on that book. I sold 1,000 copies, signed copies. My name is in each and every book. I was proud to sign them. Very excited to do so. I am hoping that the bar is higher and that DC clears it when Batman Deadpool comes out in November. So, I mean, there's three juggernauts right there: Transformers, Absolute Batman, and Batman Deadpool. And then I'm going to tell you, I'm feeling good about Youngblood. I think Youngblood is gonna get some business, and very excited about all that's coming in regards to Youngblood in November of 2025. As we kind of close the year out, I feel we're going to close it out strong. These projects are going to keep going. I'm going to tell you, I after this initial wave of X-Men comics for this new launch, I'm actually very concerned about what's going on with the X-Men. I think they're in a lot of trouble. They're basically rebooting a line of books that they rebooted about 14 months ago, and the numbers and the interest in that dropped off dramatically, which is just a damn shame. But it has led me to believe that maybe we can consider that the very best X-Men stories to have ever been told have been told. Think back and think about it. From the Cockrum run with Claremont to the epic, legendary John Byrne run, which, if we want to get into a debate, it's a debate I'll win each and every time. Why is it, even with X-Men 97, why do they continue to cover the same material? Why do they continue to put the focus on the exact same characters in those storylines that reflect, all of the stuff that John Byrne put a bright, shining light on when he was doing it with Terry Austin and with Chris Claremont? And then the second Dave Cockrum run. I mean, everyone's always, they want to do the Hellfire Club. They want to do the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. They want to do Days of Future Past, which that entire, anything futuristic with the X-Men, whether it's Apocalypse or otherwise, started with X-Men 141, started with the depiction of Days of Future Past. So that's what I'm telling you. When you see anything, I don't think I'm certainly not inspired. I can speak directly to this. I'm certainly not inspired to give you cable if I was not so thrilled by the futuristic aspects of the X-Men that were first introduced in X-Men 141, 142, the Days of Future Past. So the Byrne Austin stuff, the second Dave Cockrum run, the epic Paul Smith run, which I gave a dedicated episode to, running all the way through the Silvestri stuff and beyond. I mean, we are looking at just a consideration that maybe it was Age of Apocalypse, maybe it was 1995, but from 1975, when the new X-Men, Giant Size X-Men launched, and we got the flavor of the new X-Men, which would ultimately just find rocket fuel. And for 20 years, X-Men was number one. In 1981, X-Men is Marvel's top book. In 1985, X-Men is Marvel's top book. In 1988, X-Men is Marvel's top book. In 1991, X-Men is Marvel's top book. In 1995, X-Men is Marvel's top book. That is 20 years that it was a top book, top consideration, whether it was the aforementioned Mark Silvestri, John Byrne, Dave Cockrum, Paul Smith, Jim Lee, Joe Madureira, the Kubert brothers. It was the creme de la creme, as they say. The cream of the crop, the finest of the fine, were the people depicting the X-Men stories and shaking the pillars of the comic book world. It has seemed to have been lost, other than the early Grant Morrison stuff. I just remember in the early 2000s, the X-Men were just so kind of lost, aimless, and then it was like they self-sabotaged what Grant was doing, because in the middle of it, it would just appear to the fans that they didn't like what he was doing. It's very strange. Seeing Zorn in a couple of the recent books kind of brought me all the way back to the Grant Morrison days. And if you know the story behind what Grant Morrison was doing with Zorn and how they changed it immediately afterwards, kind of, ticked off Grant. He was very vocal in how upset he was. It just seemed like up until then they decided to hit a panic button and bring them all to Krakoa with an unsustainable story. If you've listened to this, I think the House of X model was great for 1 year. It was kind of an extended Age of Apocalypse outlook, but it burned out fast. And you can blame whoever you want, but the people who are steering the ship are the ones who are ultimately the people who are hiring, firing, and engaging some of these self-sabotaging storylines. So X-Men's in a lot of trouble. I want to get the rest of these out, but retailers are already posting publicly on Facebook that they're cutting orders based on the first week's lack of interest. If you've ever heard Dionne Warwick, she's Whitney Houston's aunt. That's her big. I mean, in the 70s, she was a big name herself. But as the and for those of you who don't know who Whitney Houston is, because I know that's a thing too. She's part of a musical dynasty. Dionne Warwick, Whitney Houston, their family. Dionne Warwick had a song called "Walk On By." I'm not going to sing it, but it feels like that's how they're treating this X-Men crossover, which is sad. And I'm sure they're scrambling to pull yet another rabbit out of their hat. They have been unfortunate, unlucky as of recently in terms of refocusing. I have talked about X-Men till I'm blue in the face. I'm going to show you some X-Men art today from some of these peak periods that I'm talking about. And some of what's going on with the X-Men is going to play into a point that I'm going to talk about again here real soon. When we talk comics here, I bring 55 years. I'm sorry, I bring 53 years of experience as a fan to these conversations. I bring 41 years now as a professional, hired as a teenager out of high school. I worked for Megaton Comics, for Dark Horse Comics. I worked for Eclipse. I did a lot of short stories. I worked for Malibu. I cut my teeth, got into Marvel and DC as I was turning 18 to 19 and never looked back. And I have seen many editors-in-chiefs. I was thinking the other day, I've been through the Dick Giordano period. I've been through the Paul Levitz period, the Jeanette Kahn period, the Dan DiDio period. I mean, DC, I've always said 7 editor-in-chiefs. I was going through my books the other day, and October, I think it's coming up, 1987 was my first official Marvel Universe handbook entries that I did for them. That it was published in October 87, but I was hired in March of 87 by Marvel Comics, and started working for them. And then, of course, was chasing the best opportunity for me that I could possibly get. Since, just a sidebar, an editor at Marvel who was there at the time said, Rob, we were trying to get you a couple of young Avengers, Avengers solo. There was always two different Avengers stories, generally a Hawkeye lead story and then a secondary Avenger. And he said, I know it was, one of them was a Black Panther story, but I think it had gone out to another artist, which delayed us. And we were looking to get you a second story when you then went full time at DC Comics. It all worked out for the best. I love my time on Hawk and Dove. I sought that book out. I have a dedicated year one story about Hawk and Dove and how difficult that assignment was and all of the elements. It's a good story about overcoming obstacles, overcoming bad people, overcoming, very, very deliberate bodies of discouragement. And as a young person trying to navigate the business and not having any idea how my work was being received, I just put my head down and I did the work. I was screamed at, yelled at, insulted, threatened by an editor who's, thank God, no longer in the business. And honestly, I think it was a blight. But again, way outlasted that gentleman. I've put more years into this business. This guy was retired a while back, and rightfully so. Been around the block, seen a lot of stuff, and excited to share all of it here with you. And sometimes it's going to take the form of me grabbing headlines or recent comics or events that were advertised as being super important. When there's at the back of the book 18 new number ones, and the whole thing kind of has doesn't have big character energy behind it, you got to wonder, like, what is the fate of these 18 new number ones, given that out of the gate it looks to be fall somewhere in the disappointment, and the disappointment is in the imagination of the world. The disappointment is in the imagination of the and the execution of the concept. So X-Men out the gate, I'm concerned. We'll do a deep dive into all of it when they're all out, when all 18 issues are out. We're not there yet, but not going good early on. X-Men Big Trouble. Okay, covered that. One of the things I saw in one of the X-Men books, and what I've been doing this year with you guys repeatedly is trying to give you guidance, whether you are on the sidelines wanting to get into the business, whether you're already in the business, whether you're a veteran. I'll put my resume up against anybody who's in the business. And I'm aware that there are people who will attempt to ridicule me. That's fine. There are people who attempt to ridicule all the greats. And whether it's in sports, whether it's in screenwriting, whether it's in acting, directing, there are always people who are quick to tear down and to minimize. I will clear my throat each and every time, put my resume out there. The most important thing on the resume is launching Image Comics. Youngboy number one launched Image Comics. There was a gap between me and the next book, which was Spawn. And Todd had a year off. He was ready to go. And that benefits greatly why he was number two behind me. But there was a gap because there was uncertainty. We've covered it here. It's a fact. I was out on my own. Youngblood number one was actually late in arriving in April. I have no problem mentioning that. That's also part of the fact of the matter. If it hadn't been late, we're looking at 5 months between me and the next book. But because I was late, it shrunk the window for the guys who were following me. But I was the guinea pig. I talk about this at great length with Jim Viscardi, so check out his Let's Talk Comics. Before I leap into what I'm about to share with you, this information, I want to tell you that when I'm not here on the show, I'm all over the internets. I'm all over the social media platforms. If you don't follow me on X, I am at Robert Liefeld, RobertLiefeld. Whoa, mouthful, blue check behind that. Robert Liefeld with a blue check. That's really me reading your replies, your mentions, your DMs, having conversations with you, hanging out. I absolutely love the connectivity of X. it's in a sports event when I'm not at a sports event, and following a bunch of buddies who are at a Rams game, at a Lakers game, at a Dodgers game. It's so fun because you're getting like real time. It's not just the reporters, it's the people who who have season tickets. I mean, X is so it's so fun. It's so amazing. It's when we all go see a movie like one battle after another that we all love, and we can all kind of just spew out our love and our excitement. Uh, I really do. I favor X. I love it. I'll be on it until they unplug it. Please don't unplug it. And so at Robert Liefeld is where you'll find me talking comics, movies, sports, whatever. I love hanging out with you guys. Over on Instagram, we're doing all sorts of fun stuff. I got a bright new light in my life, Scotty, and Mr. Scotty McDowell, who is guiding me, showing me a new way to interact with all of you. And I have a blast. We do extended filming periods. Occasionally, I'll throw in something I'm drawing on my desk that's outside of that purview, but we're trying to liven it up. I'm always really interested in what he brings to bear, and it really has increased the amount of interactivity. And I also use the word connectivity with you guys. So on Instagram, I'm at Rob Liefeld, ROBLIEFELD. Another blue check. That's really me. I read all your comments. I interact with you guys as best I possibly can. The replies, the mentions, the DMs, same as X. So check us out over on at Rob Liefeld. We are having the best time ever over there. Check us out. And thanks to Scotty for his contributions as we continue to transform the material that we're doing over there. I'm going to be doing a lot of promotions. Boy, I have a lot of people to promote, and I'm dedicated to promoting the stores and all of the stores. I don't care if you ordered a cover or not, but if you did order a cover, I'm going to give you a spotlight. But I'm going to try and drive as much traffic towards Youngblood day of release here in the first week of November. And so look for the material to become even more Youngblood focused and Image Comics focused as we head towards there. But there's plenty of room on that platform to do a whole lot of stuff. With Facebook, we have a group. It's called Rob Liefeld, Marvel, Extreme, and Beyond. I would love for you to join us. Myself and Terry Sala, Sala. We are the administrators. We will click you on through for a very good time talking comics, talking this podcast. Each and every episode is giving a dedicated post that you can discuss, that you can debate, that you can ask questions. Rob Liefeld, Marvel, Extreme, and Beyond is a group. It's not a page, it's a group. So look it up. Please click on through. We'll get you to the other side and have a really great time in that group. We have great artists who are constantly contributing, and we are going to be for the absolute certain, once we get everything grounded and well into 2026 with Youngblood, we will be doing an art book, an extreme art book, because it's so much more than Youngblood. There are characters of Brigade and Bloodstrike and Glory and Supreme and Prophet, Blood Wolf that you guys all have been sharing. So we're going to do a nice spotlight. I don't like calling it fan art, but maybe it's young, up and coming, previously unpublished guys and gals. We'll be showing that spotlight, that art, those contests. They happen in Rob Liefeld, Marvel, Extreme, and Beyond. Yeah, Marvel, Extreme, and Beyond. So check it out. Click over. We would love to see you there. Now TikTok. You guys, TikTok. Scotty has always also resurrected my TikTok account, Rob Liefeld on TikTok. I hope to get verified soon. Looking forward to it. But right now, we share a lot of material. But jump over to TikTok. We're having a great time. Rob Liefeld over on TikTok. On live streams, Whatnot is where I live most of the time. Rob Liefeld, give me a follow. You'll be alerted when I go live. If you don't think that we're going to have even more Batman Deadpool stuff, we drained ourselves pretty much of every Deadpool Batman comic that we had. But the Youngblood stuff is just gearing up. Obviously, Giant Size Youngblood, a book that I launched in the summer that only appeared at San Diego Comic-Con, is something that we continue to do new editions of on the show. We want to continue to share that. That won't be out in the market for another 9 months. There's advanced copies of some of the Youngblood books that are coming your way. Youngblood number 2 will be in hands at least 7 weeks before. And it has an exclusive cover. The direct market always has an exclusive cover that you guys call your own. So look, that's where you can find me, all those different places when I'm not hopping onto this podcast and speaking with you. The point that I am going to make, the point that I am excited to share with you, when I look at this X-Men comic and I look at some of what I call the deficiencies, and you guys, I'm going to share with you how I covered some of those deficiencies when I was a young up-and-comer, when I was starting out, and I felt that some of these stories were being challenged. I felt that some of these I was dealing with similar in regards to deficiencies on my book. And what I want to say to you is, you, the artist, because this is about art, you, the artist, you're the boss. You are the boss. And you're like, Rob, what do you mean? The writer writes the story. Yes, yes. If you are not writing and you are just drawing, you still are the final say. You are the final say. You get to depict what that story looks like. You get to stage it, put the angle that you want on it. You get to put the gestures on the characters, the emotions on the faces. You get to light the scene. I'm going to give you an example. If you look to what was happening on the New Mutants before me, you can tell that there was a new element in town. That was me. You could tell that there was an absolute new factor. I was that factor, and that factor was making changes. The artists that preceded me, I don't know if what they did was just draw what was given to them, but I knew what a big opportunity I'd been given, and I knew that I had to make the most of it. And so if you look at the issues previous to me and then you look at what I was doing, you'll see something different. You'll see the pages and the images got bigger. The representation of the storytelling got bigger. Because I'm just gonna share this very what I believe it was on my heart, and I needed to I needed to kind of just get this over to you, that I actually committed to this, and I'm gonna share most of this with you. Our job, my job when I did this, our job as storytellers is to bring as much excitement as we can on the page, and we do that with our instincts. Our job is to put our instincts on the line on the page, and it's in the service of creating as much excitement as we possibly can on that page. That is what our instincts are contributing to. And there are plenty of guys, and they really led the way for what we were going to do. They led the way. The guys that preceded the L Boys, Larson, Lee, Lim, Liefeld, Todd McFarlane, everybody. They were just doing what I would call like the grid style storytelling, because they were told that that's what they were supposed to do, and that was a level of competency. So they were just trying to be competent. I'm going to give you something that is competent. So they would go and they would lay it out, and they would do their 4-panel grid, their 6-panel grid. But the problem when you're doing competent is you've got 7 other guys who are being competent, and maybe yours is going to be the least competent of all of those. So you've lost that race. You're not your fundamentals are not as good as the other fundamental guys. And what I would encourage, and this is what Todd did, and this is what I did, and it's really something that you like draws us together, is we tried to make our mark. We tried to go out of that grid box, out of that competency thinking, and go, what can I do that's exciting above competent? Competent has its place, but there's a time for a flash. And especially during that period in the late 80s when we were all making our mark, we decided to double down on being something different than that. And it was in the service of leaving a mark and creating excitement on the page, which for me was a priority rather than being competent. Okay. So if you can catch my drift where I'm coming from on this. So, I got these plots. They knew that I was going to be taking over the book. Well, my editor did, which is where I got some of my confidence. And it's come to my attention that the other creative parties weren't necessarily aware of that. And I'm going to do a part 2 of this soon. I don't think I've ever gone deep dive on how I, at the very last minute, left. I've mentioned it, but I'm going to go much deeper into I was about to not do the New Mutants. I'd already been convinced from the New Warriors to do the New Mutants, but just a few issues in, I sensed that things weren't maybe going to go my way. So I put in to take over another title. If you know what that title is, that title had a proposal for me that included Cable, Deadpool, Dom, everybody that you saw that I brought on board here. And there were some down to the wire negotiations, but I was doing what I needed to do. Did that make me difficult? Of course it made me difficult. But would I trade it for the results that I got? No, I would not. When I got these early stories, I didn't feel as if they were as well constructed. I've done an episode where a wizard writer, an old time guy who was completely in service of the Simonsons and all that had come before. He had heard that I had done a radical rewrite on an issue. I'm going to share one of those books with you. But I did it with my editor. I called him up and I said, look, I've got to radically alter this because we're already slipping back into bad habits. This is now starting to read like the book was before. And this is, Cable hasn't even been in the book for 3 full issues and we're already sliding backwards. The story is a majority of the time of the kids shopping for jewelry in New York City. And what I did is I hastened up the action and removed pages in service of making it a more exciting story. So, what I'm going to show you here, these are not what I was written. This is the issue before this when Cable is in prison and breaking out. It's issue 88. This was not written. I'm holding up right now. This is from a foreign edition. I'm not really sure what the actual page number is in New Mutants 88, but it's in the middle of the issue. Cable was escaping. He blew a dart into the neck of Pyro, which knocked him out, and then he reached up and got Pyro's wrist fire gauntlet and this double pager. One of my favorites of Cable engulfing Blob with flame, because obviously it doesn't matter how thick and how much density Blob has, his skin's going to burn the same. And this was not written as a double pager. These were 2 separate pages. I merged this for maximum impact, for maximum excitement. I did that. I made that call. That was not how it was written. I decided to expand that in the way that I expanded that in order to make it more exciting, in order to make it more of a sell to you. I am the lowest selling X-Men book of all the X-Men books. I have got to make some noise. I don't have Wolverine. I don't have Storm. I don't have Rogue. I don't have all of the traditional hot X-Men characters. There was no really hot New Mutants characters. The one that was the most beloved by the fans was written out of the book with Magic, with Ileana. And it wasn't like Rusty or Skids or any of these specific characters were burning up the charts. They weren't what you would say in demand. The book was very much just kind of spinning its wheels. So Cable, by his introduction alone, was introducing a much more action-adventure component by design. Completely and totally by design. We cut to issue 89, and Cable is escaping in a helicopter. I'm going to give you another example because now I'm getting really good at this. Okay? Now I'm getting really good at this. This was not written as a double pager. Again, I decided I'm going to do what I do. I'm going to separate some of these aspects, make them smaller inset panels, and I am going to double down on the big image of Cable with this wild gun firing out of this helicopter, okay? And really try to excite the fans. So, in back-to-back measures, in back-to-back issues, I'm taking control. I am making sure that the visuals are what I want to give you. I think the concepts are fine, but the way they were written, they were not written as double pagers. I went out of my way to make these even bigger, bolder, more exciting. Stuff like this. Stuff like if I'm going to have the kids standing around, they're going to be the biggest thing on the page. I'm going to make them look the most interesting. I'm going to go all the way in, give you this big face, okay? This is the kind of stuff that I was, if I got to have them in their civilian clothes, I'm going to make this stuff as big as possible and just make everything else on the information chain, I guess necessary. I'll give it necessary status. But then here's the issue where I doubled down on the action and I minimized all of the rest. And I may have removed some of the shopping pages in the city to double down on the action component. Okay. And honestly, it was worth it. Like I said, I'm going to live with those results. Those are two of the examples. By the time we get to the Wolverine issues, I think those are those 93 and 94. I have a much bigger say in the stories. But even then, I amplified the Wolverine and Cable stuff and made it bigger and made it stronger in order for it to have more impact. This is what I'm talking about. Now, I was also told and may have been given knowledge, Rob, if you hold uh, those elements, if you hold the pages to the last minute, they won't have time to make uh, corrections. Now, that was not my problem. My editor supported me. He believed that my contributions were the game changer on the book. That's why he went and got me. That's why he changed the creative team. I was the new element. So I didn't have to do. I did know some guys who sent the stuff in at the last minute so that it couldn't be changed. Okay, but these are what examples of when I say you are the boss. The artist gets the final say. And look, man, would you trade a reputation of being difficult if it also came with excitement and knowing that your name meant that people would be thrilled to get that book in their hands? And that's what I'm talking about. So you as the artist, if I was given one of the books recently, and I'm going to tell you, it featured Wolverine, and I felt like he was way too sparsely utilized. And I was like, I would have chopped these talkie scenes down and added an extra 2 pages in terms of action choreography, action scenes, because the book felt light in that regard. And I felt like Wolverine literally, he struck once, was knocked back, struck again, the book was over in the course of about 6 pages of featuring Wolverine. And I felt like I wanted to see Wolverine maybe go at it with a few of the other characters. And that is a call that the artist is capable of making. Do you risk them saying, we're going to redraw that? Well, if they do, then they alienate you and you're the important relationship. You're the artist. These are comic books. Your drawings matter. So if you're getting that plot and it seems completely boring, it is within your means to change it. I would never work from a full script. I would refuse it. Plot only, and in the plot, confines of plot, you can move things around. You can make space for what's important, and what's important is exciting the fans. I've said my piece. Today is about art. We are talking about art. We are talking about the visual manipulation of pages and panels and page turns. We have been from the jump on this episode. How we are going to wrap up the rest of the day is I talk to you guys about this art all the time. And I got one of these pages in recently. And I'm going to tell you, it just went to show me how fun this is. I couldn't stop smiling. It wasn't that I bought this as an investment to flip. It's because, wow, this just makes me so happy that I get this specific page from this incredible history, this incredible historic run. That's what thrills me. I added this, excuse the glare. I'm not going to take these out of their holdings, but this is my favorite Spider-Man shot of my youth, okay? And if you can tell, this John Byrne shot, I'm going to tell you, it was absolutely, John Byrne's Spider-Man was influential on Todd McFarlane. It may not have been as popular as Todd's, but it was as influential for certain. In Todd's early issues, he was giving some nods to Spider-Man. Others have shown those in different forums. But John had done Marvel Team Up for about a year and a half. And I think Terry Austin inked one issue of that. I know he inked the Red Sonja issue that was not reprinted for many years. But this splash page, I mean, what a win. It's an X-Men page. It's my favorite Spider-Man shot. Look at that. Look at that. This is like a cover. It's like a pinup. It's page 1. I am holding up the, is it 128? It's called Listen, Stop Me If You've heard it, but this one will kill you. I think this is the start of the arcade storyline. Forgive me that I don't have that exact, issue number, but you guys who are watching this full page splash page of Spider-Man swinging through downtown Manhattan, the start of the arcade two-parter is just just a beautiful illustration with the crispest, most brilliant, most beautiful inks by Terry Austin. So having this in my collection, it's an X-Men page, it's an X-Men splash page, it's a Spider-Man splash page. It's my favorite Spider-Man shot of my youth. I mean, it's all there. Full figure, full swing, spider webs. I mean, oh man, it's just fantastic. So this is just a brilliant, epic, amazing, killer, impressive shot, right? I mean, that's why you show something like this. It's a moment. I'm collecting moments. There was no more. So the Savage Land. I think in year 3, I did a deep, dedicated dive into the international travel. The summer of X-Men 1978. You have to go look that up. It's in the. It may have been called a Robtopsy. I think that's the fastest way to find those episodes if you want to go back and look. The Savage Land saga is my absolute favorite. This is the last page, the cliffhanger splash page to X-Men 114. Sauron with an unconscious Aurora Storm. She had been down by the river getting bathing, and Sauron came behind her and psionically kind of assaulted her, unconscious. And here you've got Cyclops stepping in. This is the precursor for a giant conflict that's about to come. But this is a whopper of a moment for us in the comic book world. It's like, whoa, what just happened? When Sauron's hands go behind her and then he transforms into Sauron as he's sapping her energy, which is the assault I'm speaking of. And it's left with, here we go. The next issue is an explosive battle with Sauron that is full of even more crazy great images. And this one was a moment. I can tell you where I was. This was a U-Totem purchase, kind of a knockoff of 7-Eleven in Anaheim, California. And I could not have been more thrilled. So here, if you look at these clouds, I was going to say what other tools that are utilized earlier. I talked of this. This is grease pencil. Part grease pencil, maybe some charcoal in here as well. But Terry Austin superbly renders it with different weights on the pencil, from light to then dark, and emphasizing this atmosphere behind Sauron that just, when you see it in person, it's just incredible. But I mean, these inks, these textures, this is just phenomenal. This is one of my favorite pages in my collection for a reason. It resonates with me. I can remember where I was when I got it, and you guys can see from I'll give you one more shot. This incredible illustration, full figure, full splash page. Just imagine having that and having to wait another 30 days. Okay. So those are some prime X-Men pages. I'll tell you, one I got recently that I wasn't expecting to get, but with the prices on Burn stuff, this came at a price point that was just too easy too good to pass up. But the shadow, no, that's not a pattern. Look closely here. This is a cross-hatching pattern. I'll go in all the way. I'll have to turn it. Look what Terry does to the shadow. Instead of grease pencil or just outlining it as he could have just outlined this and asked color to do the heavy lifting. He was so invested, he went in and made his own cross-hatching pattern on this. He is truly the standard of standards in regards. This is like, you'd say, well, this isn't a big moment again, but I love Alpha Flight. I love Guardian. Okay. I love Shaman. I love Alpha Flight. This is directly linked to a subject I brought up a little earlier that I'll expand on at some point, just adding to the mystery. But even that arm of Wendigo. Now I have pages from this issue as well. I'm gonna be, I'm not gonna open up the entire chest and show it to you guys today. But these are some incredible examples of technique that once you have them in front of you, you just are so ridiculously impressed by the approach. And then those thick lines. People don't understand, the ratio of thick to thin and the crisp lines, the crisp line work. is what Terry brought to each and every job, whether it was John Byrne, George Perez, Frank Miller, Art Adams. Uh, he just set the bar to the highest possible space. Now, I've talked to you guys before about how I love blends, how I love art that finds two names coming together. And these next batch of pages are going to illustrate this. This is from I've talked about it often here, the Captain America 1976, the bicentennial special. They get one of the decorated creators of Captain America to come back and do a 1776 to 1976. It was called the bicentennial. 1976 was a big deal, patriotic stuff everywhere. Okay, 200 years. It was just a massive. It was on the signage. It was painted on the dams on the side of the freeway. It was on our coins. They changed all of our coins, the dollars, the coins, everything reflected the bicentennial. So Marvel did the bicentennial with Captain America. This is inked by Barry Windsor Smith. And you can see Barry as much as you see Jack on this stuff. You can see Barry's line work, his incredible rendering. The key. I mean, this is like Jack would. I don't know what page this is. It's early on. It's in the first. Maybe it says page 10 of the bicentennial, 4-panel page. Captain America. You got basically a cover shot right here in that gesture, and that's a cover shot right there. But all of the tiny stippling and rendering that is not something that you normally saw associated with Jack Kirby then or now, but Barry Windsor Smith was undeterred. He's like, if I'm going to do this with Jack, I am going to have fun with it. So the even that face, it's Jack Kirby, but you see in the nose and the structure, the little tweaks that Barry made that helped make it his own. But really, it's the extra added stippling, the rendering, and just the tightness that rendering on the glove is not something that you would normally see. Just a strength of line, a confidence, and a stylistic bend that you did not see on Jack Kirby. Obviously, and I'm sure Jack was like, it's Barry Windsor Smith. I mean, I'm thrilled. I'm sure Jack was completely thrilled. Jose Garcia Lopez is a name that I have talked to you guys about. He was a superstar at DC Comics. He did the Batman Hulk Treasury Edition that I shared with you. He did a bunch of Treasury Editions. He did Superman versus Wonder Woman. They just reprinted that earlier. They're two of the best Treasury Editions ever. He knew how to use scale and size. He definitely came from the Neil Adams school in terms of kind of the look of his characters, the style, but he had a definite, very signature style of storytelling and page design that was all his own, and then just a brilliant figure illustrator, incredible figure work. Well, he inks over John Byrne on this Teen Titans 2. I've got 2 pages from Teen Titans Annual 2. This is page 6. And wait, it's like Jose Garcia Lopez is going to ink over John Byrne. He sure is. This is an oversized page. These other pages I've been sharing with you, I'm going to hold them up for scale. This is 11 by 17. This is more like 13 by 18. This Titans page. Byrne went big on this stuff. This figure here, I mean, you can see Byrne, but there are just some very extra excellent details and attention to details and figure work that Mr. I know you guys want some special inset camera work. That's not coming. We're bootleg here, okay? I'm going to show you more of that because I think you see more of it on this page. Here's another page. You can really see the blend of their two styles. Garcia Lopez on Dr. Light here over John Byrne's pencils. And then in this beautiful group shot down here, you can it's a really nice blend as well of Nightwing, of Wonder Girl, of Cyborg, this face of John Byrne. And I mean, the bottom line, these are two greats. Jose Garcia Lopez, who would ink his own work, is now applying his inking and finishes. And you can see John stepped to the plate. He did a really detailed rendition. And the inks by Jose Garcia Lopez are what made that a must buy. Like I was so, when they advertised it, art by John Byrne, Garcia Lopez. What's that mean then when you got it? Oh my gosh, Garcia Lopez is inking John Byrne. I'm going to close out. You guys know I talk about this. I have a couple pages from this book Tell me that's not one of the best Superman faces you've ever seen. This is a page from Superman Muhammad Ali. It's towards the finale where Superman has now been dispatched. This is page 65. See, the big important crossovers used to be more than 20 pages. They used to be big time investments. People took great pride in them. This is inked by Dick Giordano. Neil Adams' Superman was one of, if not the very best to ever make it to page. And 1978, this is the best drawn comic I've ever seen. Every page is spectacular. This is like a B plus page. I wouldn't even give this an A plus page. This is a B plus page from that book. Okay. Look at that beautiful Lois Lane. Look at these renders right here on the alien. Just look at Muhammad Ali right there. I mean, but yes, Superman was the sell for this page. Dick Giordano, Terry Austin on backgrounds. I wanted to share with you guys some very specific pages of art to show you guys. I talk about it all the time. Well, let's start showing art. We're going to do more show and tell in future episodes. I'll talk you through it if I can't show it to you. I've tried to give you guys page numbers and keep you engaged. But today, figured first show back. Let's talk about some timely stuff. Let's talk about, and Youngblood is timely stuff. Transformers is timely stuff. Absolute Batman's timely stuff. X-Men being middling is timely stuff. Those X-Men pages, that represented a bar for the X-Men that was the highest. Everyone aspired to do stuff like that. And it was John Byrne was very influenced by Neil Adams. That's opening a door to another upcoming podcast topic about Neil recognizing that so much of his work was inspiring what was going on in the X-Men. But those are doors we have yet to walk through. We're not walking through them today. Thank you for listening. I wanted to share this artwork with you. I wanted to get back together with you. I wanted to connect. You guys know how to reach me on social media while I'm not here. The art show, we're going to do more of this. I showed you how I editorialized the art, how I took these basic concepts and wanted to make them bigger. And I know it worked. I know it worked because I was able to connect with you guys. I was able to make those connections with you. And the fact that I was able to make those connections with you is what made so much of this so rich. As I said, I would not trade any of it. I would not have traded any of those connections that came at the cost of me possibly, compromising my relationship with the story. We as the artists are fully capable of leveling something up. And way too often nowadays, I can tell this guy just did what he was told. And I don't want to hear, oh, it's going to get me in trouble. Not doing it's going to get you in trouble. You get one shot every month to make that connection, make it last, make it strong. Hey, had a blast sharing with you guys. As always, I'm always you're always in my thoughts. I am thinking of each and every one of you. I hope you are exactly where you need to be. I hope that your spiritual self, your emotional self, your physical and your mental self are exactly where you need it to be. I hope and pray that you are doing well, and that your family is doing well, and that there is good health and good opportunities everywhere. Life is full of curveballs. You never know which path is gonna be the one that leads you to where you want to be. You got to break a lot of eggs. That statement exists for a reason. You got to break a lot of eggs to make that omelet, man. And in the meantime, do not let the grind destroy you, crush your spirits, diminish you in any way. Take a break. Get out. Go take a walk around the neighborhood, the lake. Walk the pets. Have a great Reese's Big Cup. The jumbo cups are in stores now. They were, I think, a test item. Now I have a refrigerator full of them, and they weren't from my dealer, Mr. English Jimmy, who for so long funneled them to me. Mr. James Long, kudos to you. You kept my my addictions going at a very crucial period. But hey, fun food matters. Fun food matters as much as fun movie, fun TV show, fun comic book, fun laugh with your friends. Have a coffee. Go have a great meal. Just spend time with other folks. Take a break. Take a breather. It's part of what we have to do. We have to force ourselves to do it. The conditions all around you sometimes are going to press you, and you're going to feel, up against it. Feel free to slip away and reboot, recharge. We're rooting for you here. We're pulling for you. I am wishing you, as always, all of the very best. Two, boom, fist bumps into this Blue Yeti mic, into you, through you, lifting you up. Thank you guys so much for listening. Do not leave me here. I'm heading to New York City. The next one will be from New York City, New York Comic Con. We haven't even begun to really dig deep into that. I'll try and get more into that in the next episode. That's where I'm going to spend the next week of my life. It's going to be so fun. I can't wait to see so many of you. It's such a great show. Can't wait to just walk the floor, walk Artist Alley, see so many great familiar faces. It's kind of like the last big hurrah each and every year. I missed last year, so I'm excited to get back. But I'll be here. I'll be whatever this is in New York City, so don't leave me there. Swing by, catch me. We will most definitely, absolutely, inevitably talk again real soon.